What's going on, guys? It's your boy Boxing Lowdown, and I'm back here with another video. Now, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Feel free to drop a comment if you like, and I'll happily get back to you. Now, I know this video is coming kind of late because the fight took place last weekend, but I wanted to give my thoughts on this Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley situation. Now, obviously you guys know the result of the fight. I'm not going to really go too much into detail about that. But I just wanted to talk about the whole situation really with, you know, Jake Paul and how he's divided opinion amongst the boxing fans in general. Now, for me personally, I've never been a big fan of like the whole YouTube thing. I was open to the idea at first with the possibility that it could bring in more people to the sport. And, you know, the fact is that the world's changing, do you know what I mean? And I guess we have to kind of get with the times with this whole like TikTok and like this whole sort of generation, man. At the end of the day, times are evolving. And with this situation now with Jake Paul, he's obviously came into the sport. He's, you know, he's angered a lot of professionals in the game and boxing fans in general with some of the stuff that he said. And let's be honest, he has said some BS at times as well. But part of me is just starting to think now that, you know what, like, we can't let what's going on with Jake Paul in general and people like him mask over the issues that are going on in boxing right now, because we need to clean up our own house, if I'm being honest. There's so much bad shit that's going on in boxing right now. I've spoken about it so many times on my Twitter account, on my, like, on YouTube, on the podcast and everything else. Boxing is in a hole and we can't blame Jake Paul for everything that's going on. I honestly do think that if we cleaned up our shit and we got our house in order, then Jake Paul and those sort of guys, they wouldn't really have that much of an effect on us because we've got our own stuff going on. Like, if we could get some of the fights that we wanted to see made, then who would really care if Jake Paul's fighting Tyron Woodley? We'd be worried about Errol Spence fighting Crawford the week after or something. Do you know what I mean? So that is the situation that I feel that we're in with boxing. I think that we need to clean up our own house before we can really get onto, you know, these YouTube guys. Because at the end of the day, like we were saying on the show yesterday, a lot of the guys on the undercard of that Jake Paul event made a lot of money. So I think some of them made the most money that they've ever made in their career. So they are actually benefiting from fighting on his shows. And as crazy as that sounds, like, you know, it's not all bad what's going on here. Like I said, I'm not a fan of it. I didn't pay for the show. I didn't watch all of it. I saw some of the highlights, I'll admit, but I didn't actually pay for that show or watch it or anything else. I didn't have no interest in it. But if we're going into this with an open mind, man, we need to kind of look at the impact that he is having on the sport and how he is managing to get all these people talking about it that wouldn't have been talking about boxing beforehand. Does it look like a bit of a circus and a bit of a joke? Yes, it does. But to be honest, boxing itself has put itself in that position, not the likes of Jake Paul. Jake Paul is really just exploiting all of this stuff that's going on right now. If you look at what's going on in boxing, man, like, how many times do I have to say it? Like, the WBA, what they've been doing with the whole corruption scandal, all of the bad judging that's been taking place in fights recently, some of the big fights that we all want to see as boxing fans not being made. And it's almost like we're being made to feel guilty to demand for these fights as well, which is just another bad situation, man. Boxing right now is giving itself black eye after black eye after black eye. And you've only got to look at the latest situation here with Oscar Valdez testing positive for a banned substance and still being allowed to fight. No ban, no nothing. So really, we need to get our own shit together, man, before we can start pointing fingers at people that are coming in and exploiting the sport. And let's be honest, Jake Paul is coming in and exploiting the sport and he's milking it for what it's worth. But you know what? We have to blame ourselves for this. Do you know what I mean? We need to start holding the people accountable, like the sanctioning bodies and, you know, the people that matter within the sport. If we can hold them to account and get these fights happening, if we use some of our fan power to make the sport a better place, then I don't think as much as the attention will be focused on the likes of Jake Paul and that. But it's just a sad situation, man, in terms of just the sport in general, man. Like, I just feel like right now there's just so much shit going on. And there's a lot we need to clean up in the sport. And, you know, the likes of Jake Paul is a distant memory to me when we need issues sorting out now. Like the whole drug testing situation, we need to get some more clarity on that. We need the sport to be governed, but that's not going to happen by a central body. That ain't going to happen, though. We need to start like vetting these judges that are making terrible calls in fights. And, you know, we need to actually start investigating and interviewing and doing what we need to do on that situation. We need to just clean up the sport in general, man. So while I'm not a big fan of the whole Jake Paul situation and everything else, I do look at the bigger picture and feel that us as a boxing community and boxing as a sport in general need to just get shit together, man, and start cleaning it up. But that's just my thoughts on the whole situation, man. Let me know what you guys think and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll catch you all on the next video.